Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, the Senate took some time out of the regular session on Tuesday to tackle a serious issue plaguing young people of the Virgin Islands, the disturbing trend of going before the classroom straight into a prison cell. Senator Novell Francis took the lead on a gathering of stakeholders that he hopes would yield real solutions. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Government officials and community leaders took to UVI on Tuesday for a crime symposium organized by Senator and former Police Commissioner Novell Francis. Their goal, to break the school-to-prison pipeline.
How do we start to stymie and stop that phenomenon that's occurring throughout the nation as well as here in the Virgin Islands? So we had a very good, meaningful discussion in that regards and come up with some solutions in which to address the problem that we're experiencing along that line.
Keynote speaker Dr. Kimberly Mills presented how data supports the fact that young people do go from the school system straight into the custody of a corrections agency.
This is a national phenomenon, and I would hazard a guess and say international based on some of the work I did in Bermuda. Really, state to state, no matter where you go and where you look, and I think part of the evidence that this is really not just a Virgin Islands problem is the President Obama, and he has really declared this as a national priority.
There are trends that are similar between the states and the Virgin Islands in the study of how young people end up in the prison system, but according to Senator Francis, one thing that struck him was the regional statistics on prison population.
In the Caribbean, we have the highest incarceration rate. While arrests are being made in this situation, we don't do a good job in terms of rehabilitating and preparing individuals to re-entry into our community.
According to Francis, some of the solutions to stop VI youth from entering a prison setting as easily are going to take some funding, and the legislature, he said, is prepared to help out. The federal government might also be able to lend a hand.
There's a lot of federal funding that's available. Again, what we need is data, and also what we need is accountability, that when that funding comes, that in fact it's used for the purpose that's intended.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
The VI Department of Health, in other news, and the Centers for Disease Control continue to monitor the spread of Zika in the territory. The latest count is now 4 confirmed Zika cases. The last 3 having just been reported in the Tuesday surveillance report from the Health Department. Health officials also confirmed 3 cases of dengue in the territory. Residents are urged to be vigilant as symptoms of the 2 illnesses are similar. We'll have more updates on the Zika outbreak in a later newscast. More than 70 cases of Zika, meanwhile, have been reported in Panama, including 1 case in the nation's capital. The Panamanian Minister of Health accompanied crews spraying mosquito-infested areas over the weekend. The government will spend $10 million to combat mosquitoes that carry the Zika virus. Also across the ocean, the Washington State Department of Health said Monday that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed that a Mason County man in his 20s who visited the Thurston County Hospital is the first person in the state to test positive for Zika. The man had recently traveled to the South Pacific. The country's first hospital-based rapid test for the Zika virus can be found in Houston, and that's according to ABC Eyewitness News. The test was born out of a collaboration between 2 Texas medical center institutions, including Texas Children's Hospital and Houston Methodist Hospital. The Zika Direct test was developed in a matter of weeks and is designed for rapid detection of the virus. A patient's blood, amniotic fluid, urine, or spinal fluid can be used to test for the virus. Turn our attention back at home. On Monday, we reported on a heated Senate hearing that discussed the absence of live horse racing at the Randall Doc James racetrack on St. Croix. Disputes between the track operator Traxco, the VI government, and the St. Croix horsemen compound the situation. One lawmaker says that's still no excuse for not holding races at all.
I'm having difficulty, with companies coming to the Virgin Islands and not being good corporate citizens. You're running a racetrack. A racetrack is live racing. So the common sense thing to do is make sure that live racing take place. That's just basic common sense. And if there's a disagreement in terms of the purses, then just continue to run the live racing under the old purse structure. Under the old purse structure. Not going and saying we're going to cut it in half. Under the old purse structure.
On St. Croix, Sunday, February 21st at roughly 8:21 p.m., the 911 emergency call center received a report of an automobile accident that took place on Eastern Road in the vicinity of Premier Wines and Spirits. The operator of a Honda vehicle was headed east on Eastern Road when the operator of a Nissan Altima traveling west entered the eastbound lane, colliding into the Honda. The operator of the Honda was transported to the Wanlowee Hospital and Medical Center via ambulance for injuries sustained in that collision. Saskia Cork, the driver of the Nissan, was uninjured in the incident, was arrested and charged with driving under the influence. On Monday, February 22nd at 8:27 a.m., the emergency call center received notification of a single vehicular accident that had taken place on the Melvin Evans Highway. The operator of a Kia Sorento was traveling west on the Melvin Evans Highway when she lost control of her vehicle. The vehicle flipped, causing the driver and her daughter to be ejected from the vehicle onto the highway. The two were transported to the hospital for injuries sustained. The extent of their injuries is unknown at the moment. Count on two to keep you updated. The Committee of the Whole at the Senate is presently meeting to consider zoning request to develop parcel number 69 of Estate Lindbergh Bay into a 2 million gallon multi-grade fuel bulk storage facility, in addition to other changes as requested by the VI Port Authority. And as we continue to air the concerns of Bournefield residents, we'll have more on Wednesday's newscast. The Anthem of the Seas had to turn around and head back to its original port after a severe storm injured 4 people a couple days ago and forced passengers into their staterooms for safety reasons. Royal Caribbean International said that on Monday, that the Anthem of the Seas encountered the rough seas off Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, while sailing Sunday from New York area to Port Canaveral, Florida, in what was intended originally to be a 7-day voyage to the Bahamas. They said the ship suffered damage to some public areas and cabins, but remains seaworthy. None of the injuries were serious. The cruise line said the Royal Caribbean decided Monday afternoon the ship would return to Cape Liberty Cruise Port in New Jersey. The Anthem of the Seas made its inaugural call on St. Thomas on Tuesday, January 19, 2016. The federal government is cracking down on the illegal transport of lottery tickets between the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Lottery ticket numbering in the thousands are intercepted by immigration and customs officials in the mail sent through the SS postal system or carried by passengers as they travel between territories. According to ICE, the transport of lottery tickets between islands is tantamount to the transporting them from a foreign country and therefore illegal. News2 has reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office and we're waiting for comments on this case. We will keep you updated. Donald Trump is expecting a win in the next battle for the GOP nomination. Meanwhile, 2 of his rivals had some missteps on the eve of the Nevada Republican caucuses. Mary Maloney explains.
Donald Trump may laugh his way to a win in Nevada, especially after a gaffe from John Kasich and a campaign misstep from Ted Cruz. Top Cruz spokesman Rick Tyler distributed this YouTube video, misquoting Marco Rubio was saying about the Bible. Got a good book there, not many answers in it. But what Rubio actually says is all the answers are in there, making the video a blatant lie.
Every single day, something comes out of the Cruz campaign that's deceptive and untrue.
Cruz asked for and accepted Tyler's resignation.
Rick Tyler's a good man. This was a grave error of judgment. We are not a campaign that is going to question the faith of another candidate.
Trump seized on the episode, tweeting, "More dirty tricks." The same day, Kasich made an eyebrow-raising remark about women who helped his past campaigns.
Many women who left their kitchens to go out and go door to door and to put yard signs up for me.
I'll come to support you, but I won't be coming out of the kitchen.
I got you.
Kasich attempted to explain the comment, calling it off the cuff.
Everybody's just got to relax. And the other thing I think you all know is I am not a scripted candidate.
Some GOP donors want Kasich to drop out and send his support to Rubio, who has a personal history in Nevada and has picked up several major endorsements after Jeb Bush dropped out of the race. But Kasich laughed off that idea.
I think it's funny.
Hoping whatever happens on the trail stays there. I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. according to the numbers there, everything down. The Dow 188, NASDAQ 67, S&P 500 also down at 24. Coming up on News 2, time for our Black History quiz. Who is the singer, guitarist, songwriter, and activist, often called the first third world superstar? His music dealt with the struggles of the impoverished and powerless. The answer coming up. Welcome back. Coral World on St. Thomas got a push toward its proposed Dolphin facility becoming a reality. The Ocean Park received word that they earned an accreditation proving that they can take care of their marine mammals. According to Coral World officials, they're feeling good about the needed approvals finally coming in for the massive project. News 2's April Knight has details.
Coral World on St. Thomas is getting closer to its dolphin habitat project. The Ocean Park recently announced that it has received accreditation from the Alliance of Marine Mammal Parks and Aquariums.
A huge process. Not only do you have to make sure that your policies and your procedures and all are up to date, but you also have to document them, and that's one of the most challenging processes.
The accreditation is actually for the park's Sea Lion program, a requirement for a coastal zone management permit, but it has repercussions for the dolphin habitat that the park is hoping to push forward.
The local CZM commission needed to see that we applied for it, so they wanted us to go through this process. That is a step in our dolphin program and fulfilling one of the requirements that the CZM placed on our coastal zone management permit for the dolphin habitat.
The dolphin facility would be one of the largest in-ocean habitats in the world, according to Coral World. And yet it's an idea that's not so popular to everyone. In the wake of documentaries like Blackfish, opponents of the dolphin habitat point to animal captivity and the stresses animals can undergo from forced human interaction. But according to Coral World management, the recent accreditation for the Sea Lion program is evidence that the park is capable of the highest standard of care for marine mammals.
This kind of is a little stamp of approval. It says, yes, you are. It sets us apart from organizations that aren't accredited, that haven't been through this process. It's important that the park is dedicated to welfare. We're all animal welfare people. I mean, we truly are the experts in animal welfare. We work, Coral World 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Coral World is still waiting for a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers, but in the meantime, it's also looking forward to unveiling a brand new education center in a few months. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And according to Coral World management, the Army Corps of Engineers is still waiting to hear from the National Fisheries Service before being able to make a decision on the permit for the dolphin facility. The office of Senator Myron Jackson held an orientation at the Capitol building on Tuesday with 30 Danish architectural students and their professors in an effort to help rehabilitate historic buildings as part of the Centennial Project in Search of Identity. The students from the Royal Academy of the Fine Arts School of Architecture and the AAR-HUS School of Denmark. They're visiting the territory for 3 weeks to assist with the initial work of rehabilitating the J. Antonio Jarvis Elementary School complex and the old Christiansted Barracks. The Virgin Islands Transfer Centennial Commission, in addition to public and private partners, have endorsed this project. In other news, the Alpha Phi chapter of the Eta Phi Beta Sorority Inc. will be welcoming their national president and regional director, Lily A. Robinson from Sanford, North Carolina, and Deborah Cartwright-Clough of Delray Beach, Florida, on Wednesday, February 24th. This will be a first-time visit to the territory for both sorors, as they will join the local chapter in commemorating their 41st annual debutante ball that will be held on Saturday, February 27th at the Marriott Frenchman's Reef at 7 p.m. Sorority members will also engage in a series of meetings geared toward facilitating community-related services. Eta Phi Beta Sorority Inc., a nonprofit business and professional women's organization, was founded in 1942. The Virgin Islands Department of Education is inviting 7th and 8th grade students and their parents to special information sessions with representatives from the Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth. The first session took place today, February 23rd, at the BCB Middle School Auditorium on St. Thomas, but another session will be held on Wednesday, February 24th at 5:30 p.m. at the Curriculum Center on St. Croix. Parents and students have that opportunity to learn about the programs, ask questions, and connect with other families of bright students. The sessions are free and open to 7th and 8th grade public school students only. Qualifying students will gain access to summer and online courses. Every year, military installations and organizations around the world joined forces to motivate, support, and encourage service members to save money, reduce debt, and build wealth. The Virgin Islands National Guard Family Assistance Center, in conjunction with Employer Support Service and AARP Virgin Islands, they're hosting Military Saves Week. It's a week-long event to support a Department of Defense initiative. All military beneficiaries are invited to visit the National Guard and learn about federal and local resources, and that's February 22nd to the 27th, Military Service Week, at the Lieutenant Colonel Lanley Jackson Readiness Center on St. Croix, and February 29th to March 4th at the Sergeant First Class Leonard B. Francis Readiness Center on St. Thomas. Well, the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center will host a workshop on the historically underutilized business zone. The event is Wednesday, February 24th at the SBDC Conference Room in the Scion Farm Shopping Center on St. Croix from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Major Geraldine P. Vaval, Virgin Islands National Guard Supervisory Contract Specialist, will conduct a presentation entitled Procurement, How to Become HUBZone Certified. The intent is to provide information on the benefits of becoming HUBZone certified and what it is required to become certified. The historically underutilized business zones, or the HUBZone program, helps small businesses in urban and rural communities gain preferential access to federal procurement opportunities. The Hebrew Congregation of St. Thomas held their 17th annual Antiques, Art, and Collectibles auction last Sunday at the MCM Center at Antilles School, and many had the opportunity to snag some bargains. The auction is the historic congregation's only real fundraiser each year. Proceeds always help to maintain the 183-year-old Synagogue building, a National Historic Landmark. The St. Thomas Synagogue is the oldest in continuous use under the American flag. This year's live auction included about 52 items: antique furniture, wine tastings, specialty dinners, original art, jewelry and packages, and more. Now for a moment in Black history. Tonight's Black History Moment is about Robert Nesta Marley, better known as Bob Marley. He was a singer, guitarist, songwriter, and activist. Often called the first third world superstar, much of Marley's music dealt with the struggles of the impoverished and powerless. The son of a white British naval officer and a black woman, Marley made music that spoke about love for all mankind. Marley first began recording in the early 1960s as a solo artist and then with the Wailers. Marley's concerts broke attendance records. He was diagnosed with cancer in 1980 and he died in 1981 at the age of 36. In Jamaica, February 6, Marley's birthday is designated as Bob Marley Day. Be sure to stick around. Your News to AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.